Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a look at something that could be really helpful for middle schoolers. We're diving into 50 journal prompts for middle schoolers from the LeStallion website. And it's not just about listing them off. We're going to really explore why these prompts are so valuable. Middle school can be a pretty wild ride.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a time of massive change and growth.
Right, so having a way to process everything going on can make a huge difference.
Totally. And that's where journaling can be so powerful. These prompts give middle schoolers a structured way to explore their feelings, work through challenges, and get to know themselves better.
Okay, so LeStallion has organized these prompts into different categories, which is great for our deep dive here. We've got prompts about school life, friendships, personal growth, dreams for the future, and of course, dealing with all those big emotions.
Love it. A nice framework for our conversation.
Right. So let's kick things off with the school life category. One prompt that stood out to me was, what is one thing you wish your school had that it doesn't?
Oh, that's a good one. It seems simple, but it can really get them thinking critically.
Totally. Instead of just complaining, it encourages them to think about solutions and improvements.
Exactly. Like, hey, if I could change this, what would I do? It could even spark ideas for real change.
I love that. It could even lead them to becoming more active in their school community.
Exactly. It's planting the seed for leadership and problem solving.
Okay, so another prompt in this category is, if you could create your dream classroom, what would it look like?
Ooh, now this one sounds fun.
It does, right? It's a great way for them to let their creativity run wild.
But it's not just about fun. It gets them thinking about the environment and how it affects their learning.
Yeah.
Like, would they have comfy seating? Lots of natural light.
Right, it makes them consider what actually helps them learn best.
Exactly. It subtly introduces them to the whole idea of designing spaces for learning, which is pretty cool.
Okay, we're already seeing how much depth there is to these prompts. Let's move on to the next category, which is all about friendships and relationships.
Oh, this is a big one.
Huge. Middle school is all about navigating those complex social dynamics.
So true. It's a time when friendships can feel like everything.
And these prompts can help them make sense of it all.
Totally. They can help kids understand what makes a healthy friendship, how to deal with conflict, and so much more.
Okay, one that really grabbed my attention was, write about a time when you had a disagreement with a friend. How did you resolve it?
This one is so important. It's not just about rehashing the fight, but learning from it.
Right. It gets them thinking about communication compromise and empathy.
Yeah. Did they listen to their friend's perspective? Did they try to find common ground?
And it encourages them to think about what they could have done differently next time.
Exactly. It helps them develop those crucial conflict resolution skills.
Okay, there's another one in this category that's super insightful. What is something you've learned about yourself from your friendships?
Ooh, that's a deep one. It makes them reflect on how their friends influence them.
It does, right. It gets them thinking about the qualities they admire in their friends and how those qualities might be rubbing off on them.
Or even the opposite, like maybe there are some friendships that have highlighted things they want to change about themselves.
Right. A powerful way to understand how relationships shape who we are.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm loving this so far. These prompts are so simple, but so effective.
I know, right? Let's keep rolling with the next category, which is personal growth and self-discovery.
Ooh. Now this is where things get really interesting. Middle school is prime time for figuring out who you are.
It is. And these prompts can help them explore their strengths, talents, and passions.
And their weaknesses too, which is just as important.
So true. It's about embracing all parts of themselves. Okay, one prompt that stood out to me was, what is one thing you're really good at?
This one's all about boosting that self-esteem. Middle school can be brutal on a kid's confidence.
Absolutely. This prompt encourages them to focus on their strengths and celebrate what makes them awesome.
Yeah, and that's a message they need to hear loud and clear during those awkward teenage years.
Okay, so here's another one that I really like. What is something that makes you unique?
Love it. It's all about embracing individuality because in middle school, there's so much pressure to fit in.
Right. But this prompt encourages them to think about what makes them stand out from the crowd and be proud of those differences.
Exactly. It's a reminder that being different is a good thing. In fact, it's what makes us interesting and special.
I love that. And it sets them up to be more confident in themselves as they move through life.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm excited to see what other gems we find in these prompts.
Me too. Let's dive into the next category, which is all about dreaming about the future.
Oh, now this is a fun one. Getting kids to think about their hopes and dreams.
Exactly. And middle school is a great time to start. They're old enough to have some ideas, but still young enough to dream big.
Absolutely. It's a time for exploring possibilities and envisioning different paths for their lives.
Okay, one prompt that caught my eye was, imagine what you want your life to be like in 10 years. What are you doing, and how do you feel about the future you're building?
Oh, I love this one. It's like a little mini vision board exercise.
It is. It encourages them to think about their goals, their values, and what kind of life they want to create for themselves.
And it helps them realize they have the power to shape their own future.
Exactly. And then there's this one, what is one career you're interested in, and why does it excite you?
Ooh, I love this one. It gets them thinking about different career paths and exploring what might be a good fit for them.
Right. And it's not just about what they're good at, but what they're passionate about.
Totally. Because a job should be more than just a way to make money. It should be something that brings you joy and a sense of purpose.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, but we have one more category to explore, and it's a big one. Expressing feelings and emotions.
Ah, yes. This is where journaling can be especially powerful. It gives them a safe space to process all those big, complex emotions that come with being a teenager.
Exactly. And middle school is a time when those emotions can feel really intense.
Right. They're dealing with so many changes, physically, emotionally, socially. It's a lot to handle.
Okay, so one prompt that resonated with me was, describe a time when you felt sad. What caused that sadness, and how did you deal with your emotions?
This one is all about helping them understand and cope with difficult emotions.
Right. It encourages them to identify their triggers, their coping mechanisms, and to realize they're not alone in feeling this way.
Yeah, it normalizes those feelings of sadness and lets them know it's okay to not be okay sometimes.
Okay, and then there's this gem. Write about a time you felt grateful for something.
Ooh, I love this one. Gratitude is such a powerful practice. It helps shift our focus from what we lack to what we have.
Totally. And it can have such a positive impact on our mental health and well-being.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of great prompts so far. What are some key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, first and foremost, journaling can be incredibly beneficial for middle schoolers. It helps them process emotions, build self-awareness, and cope with challenges.
And it's not just about surviving the tough stuff. It's also about capturing those happy memories, those big dreams, and those moments of gratitude.
Right. It's like a personal time capsule that they can look back on and see how much they've grown.
Totally. And I love that LeStallion has provided all these prompts for free on their website. It makes it so easy for anyone to access this powerful tool for self-discovery.
Absolutely. So if you're listening and you're thinking, this sounds great, but I don't know where to start, head over to LeStallion's website. They've got you covered.
And don't be afraid to get creative with it. You can decorate your journal, draw pictures, write poems, whatever helps you express yourself authentically.
That's such a good point. Journaling isn't just about words. It's about finding your own unique voice and letting it shine through.
It's about creating a space where there are no rules, no expectations, just pure, unadulterated self-expression.
And that's where the real magic happens. When we give ourselves permission to be vulnerable, to explore our thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to our listeners, if you're feeling inspired, take that leap, grab a journal, a pen, and just start writing. You might be surprised by what you discover.
And on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive into the world of journal prompts for middle schoolers.
It's been a pleasure exploring this topic with you. I always learn something new when we delve into these practical tools for personal growth.
Me too. And I hope our listeners feel equipped and excited to embark on their own journaling journey or to guide a young person in their lives to do the same.
Remember, it's never too late or too early to start reaping the benefits of journaling. So go forth, write, reflect, and discover the incredible power of your own inner voice.
And with that, we'll say goodbye for now. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.
And you know, it can make a real difference. It did for me when I was younger.
That's awesome. I wish I'd started journaling in middle school. I think it would have helped me through a lot.
Me too. It's such a valuable tool.
It is. Okay, so we've talked about the different categories of prompts and why journaling is so beneficial. But what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think this episode highlights just how powerful journaling can be, especially for middle schoolers. It's like a secret weapon for navigating all the ups and downs of adolescence.
Right. It's like having a trusted friend who always listens but never spills your secrets.
Exactly. And it helps them develop skills that will last a lifetime, like processing emotions, building self-awareness, and learning how to cope with challenges.
And it's not just about surviving the tough stuff. It's also about capturing those exciting moments, happy memories, and those big dreams for the future.
It's about creating a personal time capsule, a record of their journey so they can see how much they've grown and all the amazing things they've accomplished.
So what are some key takeaways our listeners should remember from this deep dive?
Well, first and foremost, journaling is a powerful tool for growth no matter your age. But it's especially beneficial during the middle school years when so much is changing and developing.
It's like a safe space to figure things out without judgment.
Precisely. And it allows them to explore all aspects of their life, from school and friendships to personal goals and dreams.
The prompts we discussed today are really just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. And I hope this inspires listeners to either try journaling themselves or encourage the middle schoolers in their lives to pick up a pen and start writing.
That's great advice. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder.
Ooh, I love a good thought-provoking question. What do you have for us?
If you could go back in time and give your middle school self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Wow, that's a powerful question. It really makes you think about what you've learned and how far you've come.
Exactly. What wisdom would you share with your younger self? What do you wish you had known back then?
I think I would tell my middle school self to be kinder to myself, to embrace the journey, and to never be afraid to dream big.
That's beautiful advice, and it ties in perfectly with what we've been talking about today. Journaling can be a powerful tool for self-discovery and for learning to be your own best friend.
It's a gift you give to yourself, a chance to connect with your inner voice and unlock your full potential.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into these 50 journal prompts for middle schoolers.
It's been a fascinating conversation. I always love exploring the power of journaling and its impact on personal growth.
Me too. And I hope our listeners feel inspired to give it a try or to encourage the middle schoolers in their lives to pick up a pen and start writing.
Remember, even just a few minutes of journaling each day can make a world of difference.
It's a chance to pause, reflect, and connect with yourself in a meaningful way.
And who knows, maybe those journal entries will become treasured keepsakes, a reminder of all the adventures, challenges, and triumphs that shaped who they are.
That's a beautiful thought. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep journaling.
And remember, you are capable of amazing things.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Yeah, and it's not just about writing down your thoughts. It's about exploring them, digging deeper, asking yourself, why do I feel this way?
Right. It's about understanding yourself better.
Yeah,
And that can be so empowering.
totally. Okay, so to wrap things up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
That's a good question. I think the biggest takeaway is that journaling can be a game changer for middle schoolers. It's a tool that can help them navigate this crazy time in their lives and come out stronger and more self-aware on the other side.
I love that. And it's a tool they can use for the rest of their lives.
Exactly. So if you're a middle schooler listening, or if you know a middle schooler, encourage them to give journaling a try. You won't regret it.
Couldn't agree more. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
It's been a pleasure chatting with you as always.
Likewise. And a huge thank you to LeStallion for creating such a valuable resource for middle schoolers. Be sure to check out their website for those 50 journal prompts and all their awesome journals.
And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep journaling.
We catch you on the next Deep Dive.